Losing zone. Haste. Zone lost. Secured zone.
What's going on, guys, and welcome to Doom. A few weeks ago, I left my comfy room in Australia and flew halfway, well, not even halfway, all the way across the world to London town. Now, sadly, I did not meet the London City Shankers, but I did get to sit down for an entire day and play the absolute pants off Bethesda's new game, Doom, which is going into a closed beta tomorrow. So today, I want to take some time to sit down and talk about this game, chat about my first impressions, and really kind of give you the lowdown on what this awesome arena shooter really is. But just before we get into the core part of this video, I thought I'd mention I did manage to get my hands on an extra 2 codes for the closed Doom beta. So if you want to enter the giveaway for those codes, all you gotta do is be subscribed to the channel, leave a comment down below, and I will pick 2 winners, and I'll probably DM you the codes on YouTube because, well, I don't need 2 codes for the same beta. But anyway, let's get into it. So to start things off, I wanted to quickly explain the 2 game modes that you'll be seeing in this video and that will be playable during the beta. The first one is just, Team Deathmatch, and then the other one is Warpath. Team Deathmatch is, well, it's Team Deathmatch. You can pretty much understand how it works. It's the same in every game. You run around in 2 teams and you basically murder the crap out of the enemy until the first team to hit the score limit wins. But the second game mode, Warpath, is definitely my favorite mode out of the 2. It's basically King of the Hill with a little bit of a twist on it. There's an objective area which needs to be captured and held until your team earns a total of 250 points, which, sounds pretty familiar to pretty much anyone who's played a King of the Hill game in their life. However, unlike most KOF games, this point likes to move. This actually means that the point has a circuit that goes around the entire map, and it constantly moves from the point where it's first captured until the very end of the game. And this is such a cool thing to put into the game. It leads to such awesome, fun, intense gameplay. The fact that the point is moving is really great because it spreads the fights across all these different areas. It forces you to constantly adapt depending on where the battle is. Will you kind of take a detour away from the objective to go try and pick up that awesome weapon or that awesome power-up, or will you actually just go straight there and try and fight for it? It is a really, really awesome concept for a game mode, and it really just plays right into the type of gameplay Doom is going for, which is that really fast-paced, movement, arena-focused gameplay where there isn't any camping, there isn't any trying to set up a whole bunch of things around the objective. You are constantly running around, going from frag to frag, killing people, moving up, down, left, right. It is insane. The next thing I really wanted to kind of take a look at is the weapons in Doom 4. The thing that you're blasting your enemies away left and right with. And oh my god, the feel of the weapons in this game are amazing. It's such a weird thing to talk about, the feel of weapons, but you guys probably know what I'm talking about. I definitely know what I'm talking about, which is just that some games nail it and other games don't. And you can't exactly put your finger on why that is. But in certain games, you will pick up a gun and you can feel the power in every single shot you put out. You can feel that like 50 whatever they're called slugs slamming into your enemy and absolutely ripping them to shreds. A lot of games don't quite get that right. Doom 4, on the other hand, nails it. Every single time I pulled the trigger on that super shotgun, I could just feel that I was putting out an absolute heap of damage. So I guess the first thing I really wanted to say was, wow, do these weapons feel really, really good. The only one that I found a little bit underwhelming was, for some reason, the rocket launcher. Like I said, I can't really put my finger on why. It just didn't quite feel right. And I'm just going to move on from there because it's a really ambiguous thing to talk about. But the thing that I really did love about the variety of weapons in Doom, much like Quake Live, which, you know, all these weapons are essentially the same as, each weapon plays to its own style of gameplay. There's no kind of, you know, machine gun number 1 and machine gun number 2 and machine gun like 50,000 different options like you have in games like COD, where yeah, there are like, you know, 30 different weapons to choose from, but really, you know, 90% of them are basically the same thing with just some small tweaks to the fire rate. No, in Doom, every single weapon plays to a very unique style, and that means that you can create your own loadout to fit the exact way that you like to play the game. For example, you'll probably see at the start I was fiddling around with some different weapons like the machine gun, but by the end I had really nailed down and started to use a really set loadout, being number 1 the super shotgun and number 2 the static cannon. Now the super shotgun is just a shotgun that has to reload after every shot and deals a ton of damage. The static cannon is almost like a sniper rifle. It fires a single laser shot, and the damage that that shot deals ramps up the more you've been moving before you fire it. Now, I like to play a really mobile style of gameplay, so this loadout was fantastic for me. I'd run around with the static cannon out. I would put my first shot into someone with that at full charge, which would deal like 60 damage, and by that stage, I'm probably so close that I can quickly finish him off with a second shot from the super shotgun. Then there were also 2 grenades, which was a standard grenade that just blows everyone up and deals a ton of damage, and my personal favorite grenade, which was the Leech Grenade, and it basically creates a giant energy field, and anyone who's in it loses health, and then that health is given to you. That was my set loadout, and I absolutely loved using it. The other great thing about each weapon having its own style of gameplay means that you can actually counter what your enemy is doing depending on what weapon they're using. So, for example, if someone is using the static cannon, you can really try and move in and out of cover and get into a close range with them, where that super long range precise shot isn't really as useful. If you see someone coming at you with a super shotgun, make sure you keep your distance, because although the super shotgun will rip you to shreds at point blank range, as soon as you're only 2 or 3 meters away, the damage falls off to basically nothing. Now, there was one part of the weapons in Doom 4 that I didn't really like, and on one hand I loved it, and on the other hand I hated it, and that really came down to what are these super weapons, effectively. Now, in the beta, we only got to use one super weapon, which you're probably seeing me pick up on the screen right now. I forget what it's called. I believe it is called the Gauss Cannon. I'm never going to get that word right. But anyway, effectively, this thing was insane. And as you'd expect with a super weapon, it is extremely powerful, and that's totally reasonable. The one thing I didn't really like about this Gauss Cannon was that it effectively felt like there was not a lot of skill to using it, and from that, it felt like it was very, very frustrating to get killed by, because unlike a lot of other weapons, there really was no possible way to avoid getting killed by the Gauss Cannon. They didn't really have to aim it. Even if you were aiming in the complete wrong area, it still seemed to kill you, and I'd really love to see some tweaks that make it a little bit more skillful and a little bit less just kind of everything on the screen will die.
Double kill.
There were, however, a lot of power-ups that I really, really did love in Doom 4, and I think were done much, much better than the Gauss Cannon. Namely, what we're going to talk about next, which is the Demon Rune. Now, the Demon Rune are these runes that effectively spawn on the map once every couple of minutes, and when you pick one of these Demon Runes up, you transform into, you guessed it, a demon. Now, in the beta, the only demon you can play as is one called the Revenant, but in the full game, you can actually play as a whole bunch of different ones to, once again, like the weapons, fit the playstyle that you like best. Now, I really much preferred the way that demon power-ups were done as opposed to just kind of picking up super weapons, because number one, the weapons actually do take a certain amount of skill. The Revenant has a rocket launcher, and a lot of the other ones have got attacks which are very avoidable. There is always a way to play against the demon that you're fighting. Obviously, they're extremely strong, but you don't necessarily feel completely helpless. The second thing is they can actually be killed, so it's not like you're some kind of invincible monster of death that just goes on an absolute rampage. And finally, once they are killed, the enemy can actually take the Demon Rune from their dead corpse and become a Revenant themselves, which leads to this really great kind of gameplay where, although you kind of want to go on that killing spree and absolutely murder as many people as you can, at the same time you want to make sure you don't die, because if the enemy kind of gets their hands on that Demon Rune, then you are probably screwed. Either way, these were really great, powerful things that would kind of suddenly turn a game that was maybe going in one team's favor and completely swing it in the other direction, which I love, because you never feel like a game is safe. There's always that chance that someone's going to get that massive game-changing rune and that it is going to totally mix everything up. So, yeah, I guess that pretty much sums up everything I kind of wanted to really talk about when it comes to Doom 4. I know I've been insanely positive about it. I mean, I've been so positive that I feel the need to just say, you know, flat out, no, this is not a sponsored video. Bethesda did not leave, you know, a whole bunch of Fallout 4 keys on my doorstep or slip me a manila briefcase with thousands of dollars. Although if they wanted to do that, I would be okay with it. But no, this is just my genuine thoughts on the game. I absolutely loved it. I had an absolute blast playing the entire thing. It felt super smooth. I loved the graphics. The guns felt powerful. They were fun to use. All the games were super intense, other than a couple of little balancing things, like I was saying with the Gorse cannon. Really, I just can't think of anything to complain about. That said, I did have some really, you know, positive first experiences with Battlefront, and a lot of the time with some games, you don't actually realize the problems until you put, like, you know, 20 or 30 hours into them. That said, I am really hopeful for Doom. I mean, it was amazing to play. It is really, I mean, pretty much the same as games like Quake Live, which have been played for years and years now, and people still love them. I still love them. Doom is just like the next generation of that, and I cannot wait to play it again during the closed beta, starting tomorrow. But as always, guys, these were my Doom 4 thoughts. I've actually got another bit of really cool Doom stuff that I can't talk about, but I can show you in a couple of weeks, so I can't wait to share that with you guys. But that is going to be it for this video. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you legends in the next one. Bye bye.